and welcome to my channel. Welcome to another tarot video, tarot reading, picky card reading. Today's topic is going to be on what were your past lives like? What were you in a past life? Who were you in a past life? Anything that Spirit can give me with respect to your past lives, you know, the main lessons you have learned and all that. And you have 4 piles to choose from, so you can choose directly from these 4 crystal bottles, or you can skip to the timestamp because I'm also going to add some cards if you would like to choose with cards. But for those of you who want to choose with crystals, you have pile number 1, which is this citrine crystal, well, citrine bottle of little crystals. Pile number 2 is this aventurine. Actually, I'm probably better off keeping it here. This is aventurine crystal. Pile number 2, this is amethyst crystal. Pile number 3, I'm sorry, did I say pile number 2? Pile number 3, amethyst crystal. Pile number 4 is this black onyx crystal. Now I'm also going to choose some cards. If you would like to just choose with these 4 bottles, you can pause the video and take some time. As usual, I recommend you take some deep breaths, meditate upon the question of who were you in a past life, with your eyes closed. Take some deep breaths and just choose instinctively. Okay, do not overthink it. Okay, so this is for those of you who would like to choose with just the bottle of crystals, the crystal bottles. Now I'm going to add some cards for each of these. So, Spirit, what can you tell me about pile number 1? Who were they in a past life? What lessons have they focused on in a past life? Spirit, what can you tell me about pile number 1? The people who have chosen the citrine crystals. Who were they in a past life? Who were they in a past life, Spirit? Well, actually, I'm going to choose for all of them first. Spirit, what can you tell me about pile number 2? The people who have chosen the green aventurine crystals. Who were they in a past life? Who were they in a past life, Spirit? What can you tell me about pile number 2? Spirit, what can you tell me about pile number 3? The people who have chosen the amethyst crystal bottle. Who were they in a past life? What lessons did they learn predominantly in their past lives so far? Who were they in a past life? Spirit, what can you tell me about pile number 4? The people who have chosen the black onyx crystal bottle. Who were they in a past life? What lessons have they predominantly focused on? Have they learned in a past life so far? Who were they in a past life? Who were they in a past life? Spirit, who were they in a past life? Okay. So, okay, pile number 1, you have this card with stranded. Interesting. Oh wait, you can't really see it, I think. Well, you can see it when I show it like this, so you can pause and look at it. Pile number 2, you have this card, New Directions. Pile number 3, you have this card, Red Garden. You can pause and take a look at it. Pile number 4, you have this card with Miss Sunshine. You can pause and also look at it if you would like to meditate closer. I'm gonna try, but I don't think I can. Wait. Yeah. I don't think I can fix the light any better than this. Nope. So yeah, you're gonna have to choose between these 4 cards, and if you would like to take a closer look at them, then you can pause the timestamp for each of the cards and take a better look at them. So once again, I do recommend that you focus on the question at hand. You can focus on any question connected to your past lives because that is the main topic. You can rephrase the question however you would like. Take some time, take some deep breaths, meditate upon the question, and then make your decision instinctively. And I will see you at your selected pile. Okay, so I have added this extra video here to show you once again the 4 options because they were not that visible before. Okay, trying to keep the image still. Okay, so once again, these are the 4 options you have to choose from. So you have number 1 with this card, Stranded, and the Citrine Bottle. Pile number 2 with New Directions and the Aventurine Bottle. Pile number 3 with the Red Garden and the Amethyst Bottle. And pile number 4 with Miss Sunshine and the Black Onyx Bottle. So once again, take your time, take as long as you need, pause the video, meditate upon the piles, and select your pile carefully. You can, of course, listen to several or even all of the card readings if you feel drawn to all of them, which would be rare, but you can listen to as many as you like, of course, if you feel drawn to them. I will see you at your reading. So, hello pile number 1, this is your reading if you have chosen this oracle card with the word Stranded or the bottle of yellow citrine crystal. Okay, so this is going to be the card preparation / shuffling. If you would like to skip this part, if you don't want to sit through it, I'm going to add timestamps so you can skip directly to the card interpretation, but I'm going to be taking my time to select the cards. Okay, Spirit, what can you tell me about pile number 1, the people who have chosen the Stranded card or the Citrine Bottle? What can you tell me about pile number 1? Who were they in a past life? What were the main gifts and talents that they brought with them through their past lives? Who were they in their past lives? What were the main lessons they learned? What are the main gifts that they bring in this life? What are the main karmas? Tell me, Spirit. Who were they in a past life? Who were they in a past life? Who was pile number 1 in a past life? Who was pile number 1 in a past life? What gifts do they bring from their past lives? What burdens do they bring? What karmas? What have they learned in a past life? Whoa. Okay, I'm going to do this differently. Spirit, who was past life? Who was pile number 1 in his or her past life? Spirit. Who were they? Who was pile number 1 in a past life? The people who have chosen the yellow citrine crystal and the stranded card. Who was pile number 1? Who were they? This one. Okay. These cards are new and slippery. They are very slippery. Gosh. Okay. So I have 6 cards. This one isn't really fitting in here. Okay, so you have the Queen of Cups, the Page of Wands, the High Priest, the Eight of Wands, the Knight of Cups, the Four of Wands, okay, I'm gonna select some more cards. Tell me, Spirit, who was pile number 1 in a past life? The people who have chosen the yellow citrine and the stranded oracle card. Who was pile number 1 in a past life? Who was pile number 1 in a past life? Who was pile number 1 in a past life, Spirit? Who was pile number 1 in a past life? Who was pile number 1 in a past life? Who was pile number 1 in a past life? Who was pile number 1 in a past life? Who was pile number 1 in a past life? Okay, I'm gonna choose another card. Spirit, who was pile number 1 in a past life? The people who have chosen the yellow citrine. Tell me, what can you tell me about them? What did they learn in a past life? What gifts do they bring? What karma do they bring from a past life? What gifts and what karma do they bring from a past life? Okay. So you have the Page of Wands again, the Ace of Wands, the Star, the Two of Pentacles, the Empress, Strength. And then you have Goose, inner knowing. You are a brave traveler. Your soul knows the way. Be confident you will achieve your destination. Loyal friends are always with you. Don't worry, you are blessed, yet let yourself fly. Sounds like hand in hand with the Eight of Wands. Where can I put it? I'm going to try to leave it there. Then you have Moose, wisdom. Let your head and mind reach to the stars, yet keep your feet grounded on the earth. Listen to the ancient wisdom in your soul. The ancestors speak through you. You know much. Interesting. And now I'm going to read the description for this oracle card. Okay, where's the booklet? So, number 44, stranded. Let's see. Misdirection, misjudgment, fear of failure. Look at this young sailor stranded with his ship on top of a tall tree. He needs his anchor to help him get back down to earth. The card asks, how did the ship get there? This is such an unusual place for a seafaring vessel. At times we feel the same. We find ourselves in situations we can't quite understand. Sometimes we feel we've made mistakes because of our expectations being too high, that we set ourselves up for failure. We either beat ourselves up over our performance, or we are so intimidated that we never even begin. Failure is a necessary part of success, as important to the journey as a rudder on a ship. Very interesting. Very interesting. I already have some ideas, some of which you might like, some of which you may not like. Now, please bear in mind before I go on with the reading that this is a general interpretation. So, and of course, if you believe in reincarnation, which I will assume that you do because you have clicked on this reading, of course you can understand that each person has multiple past lives, okay? So I'm looking at potentially some of the main lessons you have learned through your past lives. So this could have been multiple past lives, okay? First thing that I can say is that clearly you were a person who was a spiritual leader. Now, of course, this could have been anything in any religion. You could have been a priest. You could have been, I don't know, a rabbi, an imam, or whatever they called in Islam. You could have been, I don't know, the wise person, a shaman, let's say, in a Native American culture. You could have been a high priest during ancient Egypt. But what is important is not so much who you were in a past life, as in actual names and status and all this, but rather what you have experienced and what you remember, what you carry with you from these past lives. And what you do carry with you is this ability to be very spiritual. You are a person who has a great deal of spiritual maturity, spiritual wisdom. You have the ability to guide others in times of turmoil, in times of crises. People might even look up to you in situations of heightened stress, in crisis situations. My feeling is that you were a person, and again, I have to speak as I find. This may sound a little bit triggering for some of you, but I feel like in many of your past lives, you really didn't go after what you wanted. And the reason I say this is because the Page of Wands comes out twice, and the Page of Wands shows an energy that is very youthful and very enthusiastic, but it's showing someone who has a lot of desire and is kind of like in an expectative mode, but not someone who acted on their desires, okay? Someone who has a lot of passion and maybe even a lot of unfulfilled potential. This could be for some of you, okay? So for some of you, this Page of Wands could show that in many past lives, you basically did not fulfill your desires. Not materially, like you ended your lives with a lot of, buried passions, a lot of ideas that never came to fruition, that you really wanted to act upon, but you either never had the courage to act upon them, or you never had the opportunity. In a positive sense, though, I think in past lives, you were also a person who was very enthusiastic, very youthful in spirit, always optimistic, very good at starting things, but maybe not so much at carrying through. I'm getting an energy that is really quite scattered, because of the Two of Pentacles here. Like, you could have been a person who was juggling a lot of things, but I feel like you scattered your energy. So in some lives, I feel like you were too busy to go after what you wanted, really. Or rather, you maybe even used being busy as a form of escape. Like, you purposefully kept yourself busy with things that you thought, or like you said on the surface, you had to take care of. But in reality, you were using being busy as a way to avoid fulfilling your dreams. And in other lives, you could have reached a position where you were very respected as a spiritual person, a spiritual leader. You are a person of great strength and great wisdom. People would listen to you, and you probably still carry this ability of being able to, on the one hand, be a support for people in situations of crisis, but on the other hand, also just staying calm, knowing what to do, not losing your temper. And you also have this wisdom about you where no matter how many things you achieve materially, you do not rely much on material things. I do feel like at some point in one past life at least, you maybe lived a life that was quite... Actually, no, I think in multiple lives, you probably have lived a life that was quite isolated. Or rather, you lived in your little universe. So because of the Empress and the Four of Wands, I feel like maybe there was a life or many lifetimes where you were the matriarchal figure of your home. You were the one who was in charge of the household, of the family. You had to be the rock for everyone, Everyone would turn to you in situations of crises and emotional turmoil. And then in other lifetimes, you were this high priest person that was, like a shoulder to cry on for many people, not just for one family. So I feel like in multiple lifetimes, you were a person who really dedicated yourself to the well-being of others. You also carry with you a lot of empathy. A lot of empathy and a lot of passion as well. And also a lot of creativity. Because of these predominant energies being, all around wands and cups, mainly, there's a lot of water and fire here. So in many lifetimes, you were not a particularly rational person. You were a person who learned how to function mainly based on instinct and intuition, based on your inner guidance system. You also were a person of great faith. Faith in a higher power, in a higher universe. Very, very creative. You're most likely now a person who was born with an innate ability to be creative, to be very artistic in multiple fields, of course, depending on each person who is watching this. You also, in a past life, traveled a lot. Really, like you traveled a lot. It's interesting. So I think in some lifetimes, in several lifetimes actually, you focused on just being centered in one place. And then in a different lifetime, you were a person who learned versatility, and you learned to travel and to adapt quickly. And also you learned how to multitask. You probably, in one lifetime in particular, you were probably a jack of all trades and a master of none. You were a person who probably had multiple skills, and this also explains the scattered energy here. It's like you are a person with a lot of talent and a lot of potential, but I don't see a lot of focus here. So this might be something. Now, bear in mind, this is not about what your purpose is in this life, but this is meant to help you understand what you carry with you from a past life. So depending on what you want to achieve in this life, what you get from this reading might help you to understand why you have certain tendencies, and, you know, why certain things come easily to you and why others don't come easily to you. But I think, like, in a past life, so I'm seeing multiple energies here. So like I said, my intuition is that most likely this happened in multiple lifetimes. Okay, so like 2 lifetimes I see at least where you were some kind of a pillar for, number 1, your family, and then number 2, in a different life, you were a pillar for the community. You were a respectable figure. But these lives were mainly centered on other people and other people's needs. So you were a person that others depended on, and your main focus in these lifetimes was to be a support to others. Then I'm also getting that in one lifetime you were, or maybe this is one lifetime. So one lifetime I definitely see of you being a jack of all trades. Okay, most likely you took the opposite approach in a different lifetime. So you probably spent 2 lifetimes being focused on, you know, other people, creating a solid base for yourself, stability in your life. You probably did not move around much, you did not travel. And then you had a different lifetime where you took the opposite approach, where you started traveling. Maybe you had multiple jobs, you learned to adapt to different circumstances. But it could have been in this lifetime, or one similar to it, that you also came across the issue of too much instability and too much indecisiveness. And this is the lifetime where you reach this stranded situation thing. You wanted a lot of things, but you couldn't focus your energy, and you felt like you ended your life without ever reaching your potential. And most likely this is affecting you today. Some level of indecisiveness, maybe because you have a lot of unfulfilled desires from your past lives. You were also a person who was very, very passionate, like most likely had a lot of enthusiasm. Or what I think also happened, and this is potentially sad, is that you could have died young in this life. So you may have been a person that had great potential, great enthusiasm, you know, a lot of things that you wanted to achieve, but something happened and your life was cut short. And that is affecting you again in this lifetime, most likely because of the fact that you feel now you have many desires and you don't even know which one to start with first. Or you could be dealing with indecisiveness. and confusion. Also, what I can see is in one lifetime, or maybe the same one, you were born into some kind of an important family. Maybe you were someone that was being groomed for some kind of a great destiny that never came to be. And this is most likely causing, especially early on in your life, you may have felt that you may have felt some kind of a strange sense of entitlement, or some kind of a strange sense, or like disproportionate sense of self-confidence, where people didn't even understand where it was coming from. Maybe from a young age, maybe even as a child, you were quite daring and full of energy, and people around you didn't even know where it was coming from. But that was probably because in a past life you were groomed to believe that you are destined for greatness, or that you are destined for a great destiny. Yeah. Or you were raised in some kind of a really important family. Also in a past life, and I think I have mentioned this, you were very potentially even famous, okay? So you were a person who was very highly recognized and appreciated for his or her skills, especially for your intuitive abilities. So this could have been, like I said, many things. It could be literally you were a religious leader, maybe even a nun, you know? You were some kind of a person who was religious. But you could also have been a shaman, or someone, even maybe a witch, a Wiccan. Someone who was really recognized for his or her spiritual abilities, healing even abilities, nurturing abilities. People would come to you for advice and guidance. You also definitely in at least one lifetime had a family, and the family was the center of your existence. You also were a person who developed a great deal of inner strength and resilience in many lifetimes. You actually could be coming from like a long bloodline of people who were very developed spiritually. And I feel like in your situation, your bloodline, your ancestors are really supporting you, are really helping you. You may not even realize it, but your family, or like people in your bloodline, and I'm not talking about immediate family or even people that you knew in this lifetime, but people that maybe lived in your bloodline 20 generations ago, are really guiding you. There is a message here from Spirit that because of a past life, I feel like, and again, this could be potentially negative, but I definitely feel like in a past life, there was some kind of a giant disappointment connected to it. Okay, so either it was cut short, maybe even seemed to be very unfair to you. You passed away young, maybe you got sick, or I don't see foul play necessarily, but I feel like in a past life, your ambitions and your desires were cut short. And I think that because of that, like I mentioned also a little bit earlier, you probably struggled with, or maybe even now struggle with, feelings of indecisiveness, feelings of being lost, feelings of maybe constant, or not constant, but a great deal of anxiety, because you're maybe even afraid to commit to things because you don't know when they're going to be taken away from you, or like You know, you may have an avoidant personality. So I feel like if that is at all your situation, there is a message that you need to trust a higher power. You need to trust that, you know, what has happened in the past is not going to happen again. This is a different life, and you have a chance to start all over again. And I feel like there is a message here that you need to commit in this life to one particular path. But of course, it is up to you to make that decision with respect to what path that is. So yeah, this is pretty much what I can see in your cards, and I hope that this has resonated. And once again, if you have liked this reading and you would like to see more readings like this, please do not forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell to see when I will post a new tarot reading. And also, if you're interested in a personal reading, you can email me at the email that I will leave in the video description. Thank you. So hello, pile 2. This is your reading if you have chosen the green aventurine crystal bottle and or this card that says New Directions. So this is going to be the shuffling part. You can skip this whole part and go directly to the reading, to the interpretation of the cards if you don't want to sit through it, because I'm going to be taking my time. So Spirit, what can you tell me about pile 2, the people who have chosen the New Directions card or the green aventurine crystal? What can you tell me about pile 2, the people who have chosen the New Directions oracle card and the green aventurine crystal bottle? Who were they in a past life, Spirit? What lessons do they bring with them from the past lives? What talents, what karma, anything you're willing to tell me, Spirit. Tell me, who were they in a past life? Who were they in a past life, Spirit? Who were they in a past life? What lessons do they bring? What karma do they bring? Tell me, who were they in a past life? Okay, so you have, wow, the 7 of Swords, the Knight of Cups, the Emperor, okay, the 5 of Swords, Death, the Chariot. I'm already getting some ideas here. Okay, let's see some more cards. Spirit, tell me about pile 2, the people who have chosen the green aventurine crystal bottle. The people who have chosen the green aventurine crystal bottle. Who were they, Spirit? Who were they in a past life? What lessons do they bring with them? What karma do they bring with them? What lessons? Who were they in a past life, Spirit? Who were they in a past life, Spirit? Tell me, pile number 2. Who were they in a past life? Who were they in a past life, Spirit? Who were they in a past life? What lessons do they bring from a past life? Who was pile number 2 in a past life? Okay, the 3 of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles, the Hanged Man, the Knight of Wands, the 6 of Cups, The Six of Wands under the Chariot. Oh, yes. I am getting confirmations of what I am already thinking about your past lives. Okay, so let me get 2 more oracle cards from these animal spirit cards. Spirit, tell me, who was pile number 2 in a past life? Who were they in their past lives? What past lives have they lived? What are their lessons? What is the karma they bring? What are the talents? What are the faults they have? Tell me, Spirit, who were they in a past life? Who were they in a past life, Spirit? Okay. So we have deer. Okay, wait, let me start with first wolf. Interesting. You have the wolf and the deer. What a dichotomy. So you have Pathfinder. Release your past and start a new journey. You are a teacher and help others find their way. There will be challenges, but your soul is strong. Perseverance is your secret power. You have a love that endures. And then you have deer with love. Be gentle with yourself. You heal with the power of love. See the light in all things. Acknowledge your self-worth and grace. Okay. Oh, come on. Okay, and now I'm going to be reading the description for this oracle card, New Directions, number 45. Let's see, what does it say? New Directions. Departure, new perspectives, goodbyes. A dandelion is an airship traveling through the sky with a top hat as the basket these men are flying away in. One man jumps out of the basket and sails off on a flying dandelion seed. It takes him far away while the other men wave goodbye and wish him well. This story illustrates endings and departures that are necessary to gain new perspectives in life. It takes courage to change directions and abandon old habits. But if you are bold enough, you can fly towards something new, a dream, a place, even yourself. Okay, I am getting some really strong messages about what you were in a past life. I'm getting military. You were in the military. I'm getting a very strong message that you were in the military already because of this. The men are waving you goodbye. I feel like in a past life, you were a warrior who passed away on the battlefield. I feel like you spent many lifetimes really living in survival mode. Look at this. You have the Chariot, you have Death, you have Six of Wands, Five of Swords, Seven of Swords, the Emperor, the Knight of Wands, the Knight of Cups, and the Hanged Man. I really feel like in many past lives, you were a person who dealt with a lot of warrior situations. Like you were a warrior in many past lives. You dealt with a lot of crisis situations, a lot of death, a lot of stressful things, a lot of conflict. Most likely in a past life, you were actually a person who was victorious in battle. Look at this, the Chariot and the Six of Wands, which the Six of Wands, this card doesn't suggest it much, but the Six of Wands is it's a card of victory. Okay, it is, you know, in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it's that it's an image of this person, I think a man, I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman, but it's this person that is you know, riding in on a horse surrounded by flowers and laurels and everything. So, and then it's underneath the Chariot. So, I mean, in a past life, most likely you were a person who was known for their bravery on the battlefield. Either that, so what that is one direct, almost literal interpretation, or if you were not directly in the military, you had to deal with situations where you have succeeded against all the odds, okay? So you were a person who maybe with minimal amount of help, you managed to achieve what few would have dared to dream of achieving against all odds, like I said. So you are a person who had really learned to rely on yourself. On the more negative side, though, I definitely see also a lot of defeat, a lot of painful defeat. Not just painful defeat, but hollow victories as well. See how this resonates? It's really interesting. My intuition would be that in this lifetime, maybe you started out early on in your life being a person who easily started conflict or easily got into conflictual situations. But I feel like the older you get, the more you will start to realize that you no longer want to focus on these things. You start, most likely in many lifetimes, you were used to just constantly fighting for everything. And, for every little thing that you wanted, you had to fight. You also, I feel, could have been killed in a past life. And I know this is a little bit grim, but look at this. You have the Hanged Man underneath the Emperor. This could show an execution. And it also goes hand in hand with the rest of the cards. And this could also kind of explain why you have the two different animal spirits, the wolf and the deer, which are actually naturally a hunter and hunted pair, right? So I feel like in many lifetimes, you were both the hunter and the hunted. And it's interesting because it says, the deer card says, be gentle with yourself, you heal with the power of love. See the light in all things, acknowledge your self-worth and grace. So I feel like in many lifetimes, you have been so used to everything being savage, everything being about survival mode, that you didn't even allow yourself to really discover or like develop your gentle side, if that makes sense. Also, in many lifetimes, most likely different ones. So in some lifetimes, I definitely see a clear path of you being a warrior. And also, I feel like with the 7 and the 5 of Swords being present, you are a person who may have resorted to really nasty things. And you resented maybe even yourself. You resented the life that you were in and even yourself, because you hated the fact that you had to resort to maybe even lowly behavior or very savage tactics to survive, or just to, maybe you were forced into a path of being in a war situation, or being in a warrior of some kind, or crisis situations where you had to be ruthless to just survive. And you felt like it was, even though maybe you may have succeeded, you may have achieved something materially, there was always a part of you that felt miserable about the things you had to do. And maybe you ended your life with a heavy conscience. I mean, another interesting pair here of cards is the Death and the 6 of Cups. So the Death card is such a savage card. It's like an ending. It's an absolute ending. And then you have the 6 of Cups, which, again, in the Rider-Waite, it's a card of hope. It's a card that shows childlike innocence. So you were reborn. You were given a chance. So in one lifetime, I feel like in many lifetimes, you were the wolf. In many lifetimes, you were the deer, if that makes sense. So like, you were a warrior, you were savage, and then you also had lifetimes where you were born and you wanted to experience innocence, the innocence that was denied. If you haven't managed to experience that innocence, most likely you're going to be seeking it in this lifetime. You're going to be seeking to move away from being ruthless, from being savage. But aside from that, I also feel like in another lifetime, most likely a different one, so not the warrior lifetime, you were a person who was quite respected. You were a great professional. You were a person who had a legacy. You left a legacy behind you. You were a person who was very hardworking, most likely a skilled professional in some kind of a field. And your life was dedicated towards science or some kind of studies, or actually not just science or studies, just paving a strong career path. You had a successful career and also a successful family life. You also were surrounded by friends, very loyal people that you could rely on. I actually feel like in this lifetime, you might actually be a person who makes friends pretty easily, or people want to be your friend. Or you are quite blessed in the friend department, more than average, let's say. Because I feel like you are bringing some kind of strong karma from your past lives with respect to friendship and loyalty. I really get a strong sense of resentment here. Like, you were a person who was not meant to be. Like, I feel like you were forced by circumstances, or sometimes either by circumstances or literally you were forced. Maybe you were, I don't know, like if this is many lifetimes ago, you could have been bought as a slave, you could have been forced into this lifetime. But I feel like you were a person who has, and still probably still has, a very sensitive soul. A person who's very gentle deep down, very idealistic, very caring. And you resented the fact that you were forced into a lifetime where you had to become ruthless and you had to even murder. I also feel like you might be carrying residual guilt, maybe even in this lifetime. So like if you're a person who maybe like easily falls prey to feelings of guilt, or like or asking yourself, I don't know, like constantly feeling like, oh, you could have done better, or maybe you should have helped people more. It's most likely because you're carrying guilt from previous lifetimes. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily a bad thing, but you should watch out that you don't over-sacrifice yourself or something for the well-being of others. I feel like there's a strong need in your pile for forgiving yourself. And again, this could be very blunt, but maybe you even murdered, like you murdered innocent people. And that's like, but not because you necessarily wanted to, it's because you were forced, or rather, it was like you or them. You were forced by circumstance, or maybe your superiors forced you. But I definitely feel like there's a strong sense of guilt here. In any case, though, you do, so the positive things you carry with you from your past lives is number one, bravery, your ability to face your fears head on, your ability to just do what has to be done, even though you might be terrified. You have a strong fighting spirit as well. You're not really easily intimidated. You're not easily frightened. You just take things as they are for the most part. And you understand duty and honor and loyalty. Loyalty is really important to you. I also feel like from your past lives, you might be carrying a lack of trust and authority. You may have felt betrayed by your superiors or someone that you really trusted. Maybe this is even true for you in this lifetime. But most likely, if this has happened to you in this lifetime, it's a continuation of what you have experienced in previous lifetimes. Dealing with themes of betrayal, of trusting the wrong people, of putting your faith in the wrong authority figure. I feel like a way to appease your soul in this life is to somehow deal with family, either your own family or other people's families, dealing with children, teaching, helping those that are in a weaker position. Because your energy in a past life has been so focused on duty and career, my feeling is that a part of this lifetime now, at least, most likely, will be for you to focus on probably building your own family. See if that resonates. It may not resonate if you are, let's say, early on in your life, like under the age of 30, but I think as you get older, the more you will start to feel like devoting yourself to a career or a person you believe in or a cause will not satisfy you as much as you initially may have thought. You could have been a general in a past life, general, commander, soldier, but most likely it's not. You probably started out as a soldier or something, or someone lower in rank, and you worked your way up to the point where you reached a great achievement and you got a lot of respect for it. You also were a person who's very passionate, but also very idealistic. And I feel like I said, in your past lives, you've had to suppress a great deal of your gentleness and your sensitivity in order to fulfill your duties. I also feel like you may have put your comrades or your friends above your family. So like, even if you had a family, let's say you were a soldier who had a wife and kids, you may have neglected them. And that could have also been now translating into a sense of guilt and also a strong desire for you to focus on family, I think. So yes, and also you could have, like I said, a lot of crisis situations and also potentially a lot of transformation. You would have dealt with a lot of transformation and a lot of sudden changes, a lot of ups and downs. So like I said, this could match professions or a lifetime spent in the military or some kind of a detective or a spy. But you had some kind of a life that was devoted to profession, to superiors, to hierarchical superiors, to a cause, to something you believed in. And it hasn't been always as fulfilling as you had expected. Now that I think about it, this New Directions card and the men watching this man being carried away, I feel like this lifetime for you is probably about just letting go of a sense of duty and finally just focusing on your own joy and your own happiness. If that makes sense. So yeah, this is pretty much what I can see in your reading, pile number 2. I hope that you have found this interesting, because I definitely have. And if you have enjoyed this reading, please do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And also, if you would like a personal consultation, a personal reading in tarot, you can email me at the email that I will write in the video description. Thank you. Hello, pile number 3. This is your reading if you have chosen this amethyst bottle, or if you have chosen this oracle card that says Red Garden. Okay, once again, I'm going to be adding the shuffling part here. I'm going to be taking my time selecting the cards, but I'm going to add timestamps so you can skip directly to the interpretations. Okay, so Spirit, what can you tell me about pile 3? Who were they in a past life? What can you tell me about pile 3? Who were they in a past life? What lessons do they bring from a past life? What karma do they bring from a past life, Spirit? People who have chosen the amethyst crystal bottle. Who were they in a past life? Who was pile 3 in a past life, Spirit? Who was pile 3 in a past life, Spirit? Okay, so you have Ace of Pentacles, the Six of Wands, the High Priestess, the Nine of Cups, the Five of Wands, the King of Wands, loads of wands. Okay, more cards. Spirit, what can you tell me about pile 3? Who were they in a past life? The people who have chosen the amethyst crystal and the Red Garden card. Who were they in a past life? Tell me, Spirit. Who were they in a past life? Who were they in a past life, Spirit? The people who have chosen pile number 3, who were they in a past life? The Three of Cups, the Lovers, the Nine of Wands, the Strength card, the Five of Cups, the High Priestess again. Wow. Okay, so you are definitely very spiritual. I'm gonna get 2 more oracle cards from this animal spirit deck. Spirit, what can you tell me about pile number 3? Who were they in a past life, Spirit? What lessons do they bring? What karma do they bring? What lessons do they bring? Who were they in a past life? What was their focus in a past life? Who was pile number 3 in a past life, Spirit? Lizard regeneration, loon intuitive. Okay, listen to the song in your soul. Trust your intuition as you have a way of knowing. Emerge from the busy life and seek more solitude. Recognize that you are unique and that you are loved. Lizard regeneration. As a survivor, you are unparalleled. No matter what happens, you can adapt. Embrace your transformation. Put on your new cloak. You are a master of regeneration. already there is a reinforcement of the High Priestess energy with intuition. Okay, now I'm going to read the description for this Red Garden card from the booklet. Let me see, what does it say? Red Garden. Gratitude, pleasure, happiness. On this card, we see a woman strolling through a garden full of flowers. The sky glows with pink petals and the ground has turned into a luminescent blue. The woman finds great peace in being one with nature. The flowers have become part of her body and a parrot feels at home on her shoulder. During her walk down the path of life, she keeps happiness and gratitude in her heart. She notices the simple pleasure of life and is thankful for all nature has given her. Very interesting. So this is like a further reinforcement of what I was going to say, to be honest, which is that with the High Priestess, there is a strong message here that in a past life you were, I would say almost definitely not in an Abrahamic religion. So like you were a very spiritual person, maybe even a religious person, but in a culture or in a society where feminine energy was revered. I'm feeling something like shamanism here because of the High Priestess coming out twice and also this desire to be one with nature. There's definitely a strong feeling like you were something like a shaman, a healer. You were someone who was very wise. Okay, so feminine doesn't necessarily mean that, of course, you only focused on women's issues, but it means you were, you know, respecting nature, you were one with nature, probably knew a lot about sustainability, about regeneration, about healing people and places. Basically the equivalent of a psychotherapist in the past. In some ways, but more than that, probably also someone who had knowledge of you know, natural medicines and holistic approaches to medical science. I also feel like you were definitely wealthy. So bear in mind, I'm going to repeat this again. I think I've also mentioned it in the beginning. That this is a general reading and I could be picking up multiple past lives, because if you believe in reincarnation, we have all lived multiple past lives. And so the energies that I am picking up could be contradictory, either because maybe in one life you had a drastic change from becoming one person to becoming a different, so changing from one person to another at some point in your life. But what is more likely is that you experience these contradictory energies in different lifetimes. So on the one hand, I see one side of you that is very, you know, in touch with the feminine energy, very intuitive, most likely something like a shaman, a healer, maybe a Wiccan, a pagan, someone who is very much in one with nature, living in nature. And also someone who focused on love a lot. Maybe you had also a lot of focus on romantic affairs, but focusing on love just meant that you were in that energy of being peaceful. You wanted to create peace and love and to spread it around in the world around you. And also that you were doing something you enjoyed on a regular basis. Most likely you were making a living doing something you really loved, that was really in tune with your authentic self. But then I also see a different energy where, you know, I see a lot of struggle. So also one lifetime at least where you had to work very hard. You went through potentially a lot of loss. There's a lot of sadness, a lot of, I think even almost maybe the opposite, because usually, you know, if you believe in, or if you read into reincarnation theories, souls will reincarnate to experience opposite side of the same spectrum. So I feel like in one lifetime you were all in the energy of love and you were giving and overflowing and you had an abundant lifetime. You were surrounded by you know, people who loved you, friends, people who are like-minded, you know, your soul tribe or soul family. And then in another lifetime, I feel there's a lot of struggle. There's also, I think, a lack of love, a lot of sadness, a lot of emptiness, a lot of hard work. Like, I feel like from past lives, you bring this ability to really work very hard because you have spent many lifetimes, maybe many lifetimes, or maybe just one. But in previous lifetimes, you have had to deal with struggle. You know the meaning of struggle, and you have an inner strength because of this confidence that you bring from past lives about being able to just make it with little to no help. I also see, again, it could have been in this lifetime or in a different one, that you were definitely also a wealthy person at some point. You were not just a wealthy person, but a person who was self-made. You could have been a person of high status, a person who was recognized and respected as a leader, as someone who was admired by many, very passionate, very self-driven. I feel like you were someone who had some kind of a brilliant idea about how to create a business that really took off. So that's how you became a self-made, wealthy person. But you fell into conflict with the authorities. Most likely that gave you some grief. And also, I think that you have had to live in foreign lands in a past life. Maybe you were an immigrant. So what I'm getting from this lifetime is that while on the one hand you were successful financially, so you managed to acquire a lot of wealth, there was probably also a feeling of never fully belonging, or feeling like the environment that you had to live in was just opposite to your nature. You know, it was hard for you to adapt. You had a lot of conflict because of it, with the people around you, maybe even with your employees. Differences in viewpoints, differences in value systems. So yeah, I definitely feel like you were some kind of an immigrant in a past life, and you made it through your own efforts. So overall, I feel like the qualities you bring with you, the things that come naturally to you because of your past lives, is this unparalleled confidence in your ability, like in your ability to just make it on your own. You're probably a person who does not feel the need to compromise a lot, even though you could. Like, I feel like even though you are a person who has a very good understanding of people, maybe even you have a very high emotional IQ, you're really not a person who wants to compromise. Like, because you have that confidence that you don't need anyone's approval to succeed. Even though there might be times when you have doubts, definitely, but I feel like overall you have this like strength that you carry with you from your past lives about knowing that, well, nobody gave me anything before and I have managed to achieve things through my own efforts. And it, to some extent, I think that it comes naturally for you to not rely on other people You probably from a relatively young age have been quite independent and quite self-reliant, or at least you have that ability, irrespective of your environment. So the strength, right, so this is what I wanted to say. You definitely have a great confidence in your ability to succeed, to just make it irrespective of the odds. You also are a person who is a natural leader because you have this ability to deal with obstacles head on, and also you're a person who has a lot of passion. You are definitely someone who is, I think, deep down driven by what you love and to just achieve what it is that you want on an individual level. Not so much about, achieving other people's idea of success. And you still carry with you that ability to, be a rags to riches kind of story. So if you are born into, let's say, humble beginning, you have the ability to make your own money, and a lot of it. And also, I feel like you are pretty authentic. And my feeling is that you're probably someone who does not want to compromise on who you are. You do not want to walk over yourself or be something that doesn't feel right, doesn't feel authentic for you. I definitely feel like it, at least at some point in your life, maybe not in the first 20, 30 years of your life, but eventually you will become very determined that you don't want to compromise on who you are or what your values are. And most likely you will seek to branch out in a way that you can make money, but at the same time be your authentic self. I feel like there's a strong potential here for you to be someone who creates something really original. That's another thing. You are a very creative person, whether you realize it or not. But you have the potential to become someone truly revolutionary. The reason I say this is the number 11 turns out a lot of times here. So, I feel like you're someone who might be destined to do something on a grand scale, on a social scale. And I know that sounds maybe pompous, but maybe not on a grand scale, not to the point where you completely change, let's say, the constitution of a country, but you might bring things that are revolutionary, some revolutionary ideas or some policies that will impact a lot of people, especially in things to do with politics, social problems, healthcare, mental health, spirituality, things that have to do with how people are living. Of course, it could also be to do with nature and sustainability. You are a person who is naturally nurturing. So whether you want to have kids or whether you do have kids or not, you're a person who you can take care of people naturally. You have that ability to understand people and animals as well. So you're a good caretaker, basically. And you can be that rock that people rely on in times of stress. Okay, so this is pretty much what I see in your reading, and I hope that you have found it interesting, because I definitely have. And once again, if you have enjoyed the reading and you would like to see more tarot readings from me, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and also if you're interested in a personal tarot reading, you can email me at the email in the video description. Thank you. So hello, pile number 4. This is your reading if you have chosen the black onyx crystal bottle or this card that says Miss Sunshine. So I'm going to add timestamps so you can skip directly to the reading, because I'm going to be taking my time selecting the cards. Okay, so Spirit, tell me about pile number 4, the people who have chosen the Miss Sunshine card. Tell me about pile number 4, the people who have chosen the Miss Sunshine card, and the black onyx crystal bottle. Who were they in a past life, Spirit? Who were they in a past life? Who were they in a past life? What talents do they bring from a past life? What karma do they bring from a past life? Help me out here, Spirit. Who was pile number 4 in a past life? Who was pile number 4 in a past life? Tell me, Spirit, who was pile number 4 in a past life? Who was pile number 4 in a past life? Okay, I'm feeling a strong urge to take 2, so I'm going to take them. Even though normally I would only take 6 from this pile. Okay, so you have the 6 of Cups, the 7 of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, the King of Wands, the Moon, the 7 of Wands, the Knight of Cups. Okay, I'm gonna get more cards. Spirit, what can you tell me about pile number 4? The people who have chosen the black onyx crystal and the Miss Sunshine Oracle card. Tell me, Spirit. Who were they in a past life? What karma do they bring? What lessons have they learned? What talents do they bring, Spirit? Who were they in a past life? Spirit, who was pile number 4 in a past life? Who was pile number 4 in a past life? The 10 of Wands, the Tower, the Queen of Wands under the King of Wands, the 6 of Wands, the 8 of Wands, the Strength card, okay, I'm gonna get 2 oracle cards from the Animal Spirit oracle cards. Spirit, who was pile number 4 in a past life? Help me choose a card. Help me choose the right cards. Help me out. Who was pile number 4 in a past life, Spirit? Who was pile number 4 in a past life? Who was pile number 4 in a past life? So you have Snow Leopard, self-reliance, and sea turtle protection, okay? Snow leopard, you are strongly independent and often solitary. Integrity is important for your best outcome. Cloak yourself with invisibility and walk with the shamans. Use your intuition and let your life unfold in silent perfection. Sea turtle protection, you are master of finding life's flow. Be in harmony with the rhythm and your path will unfold. Persevere and you will succeed. You have everything you need to be protected and happy. Now I'm going to read the description for this oracle card, Miss Sunshine, from the booklet. Let's see, what does it say? Number 17. Miss Sunshine, sun, light, energy, courage, clarity. A woman rises high into the sky. Her hair shines bright like the sun. Her skirt looks like a huge building. She comes from a darker place. Beneath her lies gloom and shadows. But her light is glowing. She is like the energy of life and the sun of the universe. She focuses her intentions on the positive and is able to gain clarity. She leaves the night and fears behind. Wow, okay, very interesting. So, pile number 4, more than the other piles, I'm feeling a sense that you have gone through a lot of emotional pain in a past life, or maybe in multiple past lives, because I'm going to start with this disclaimer. As I think mentioned in the beginning, that this is a general reading, so of course take it with a grain of salt. But on top of that, you need to understand that this could be referring to multiple past lives, okay? So if I'm getting contradictory energies, it's either because you have experienced a great transformation in one of your past lives, or because this shows two different past lives or multiple different past lives, okay? But I would say actually that in your pile, more than in the others, it's likely that you actually went through some kind of a major transformation in a past life because of the tower being present here. So I feel like you were a person who has had to go through a painful transformation, something that came from the outside that forced you to adapt, that gave you a feeling maybe of loss. I'm also getting a sense of, like, for you, this could be even in your family lineage, a lot of emotional suffering. Like, which on the one hand, you know, yes, it was a lot of emotional suffering, but on the other hand, has made you very intuitive and very imaginative and very, very gifted. In your case, I almost feel like you had the reverse of a rags to riches story in a past life. Like, you had a position and eventually something happened where you lost everything. I also feel like this trauma is particularly strong because you were probably someone who, at least to some extent, you worked hard for what you had. Like, maybe this is something that you can think of that happened in your ancestry, in your ancestral lineage. But I feel like there's, you know, you were someone in a past life who achieved a great deal of success materially, maybe a high position in society, and somehow something happened where that was taken away from you, like maybe political upheaval or an economic crisis. I can think of the crash of 1929, I don't know, or war or something. Something happened where you went from a situation where you were comfortable materially and respected to losing almost everything and then having to start over again, and maybe not managing ever to retrieve your status again. So something that I see, and the reason I mention ancestral lineage is because according to the theory of reincarnation, we tend to reincarnate in the same bloodline. Unless a bloodline has ended, meaning there are no more children in that bloodline, you're going to be reincarnated in a different family. At least this is something that I heard from other cultures. But also, I'm getting a strong feeling that you also, maybe in the same life or in a different life, you have emigrated. You have emigrated to a foreign land, and that has brought you a great deal of success. Like maybe you were also a person who just enjoyed traveling. I think also when you had money, you enjoyed to travel and you really expanded your horizon. You learned to adapt to different circumstances. I also feel like despite what you went through, you actually managed to gather a great deal of inner strength. So eventually, even though you had some kind of a trauma connected to the things you went through, the losses, you ended up gaining a lot of inner strength and a lot of confidence that you can make it no matter what. I feel like you were also a powerful manifester, like someone who just pursued a vision and made it happen. So again, this could be referring to multiple lifetimes, not all of these things are the same lifetime. But something you carry, I think, from previous lifetimes is a desire for travel, a love of travel, and also an ability to pursue a vision to completion. You are definitely also very successful in past lives. I feel like you had a position, like I said, that was respectable. Maybe you were even royalty or something like, nobility. You had a very respectable position. People just looked up to you. So yeah, I mean, the message also with this Miss Sunshine, and I mean the rest of the oracle cards, the Miss Sunshine description, the snow leopard, the sea turtle. I feel like you are a person who, the silver lining of the tragedy is that you not only learned the depth of your own strength through the hardships you went through in a past life, but you also learned that you can adapt and that you are being watched over by a higher power. I feel like it's given you a strong belief in, a divinity. And also just in your ability to recover from all kinds of hardships. I'm definitely getting a feeling of, at least in some of your lifetimes, you have really had to struggle. And I feel like not just struggle, but you had to struggle alone. Like you were overburdened with a lot of responsibility. Maybe you even were, a slave in a past life. Which would make sense because, again, usually souls will seek opposite perspectives, to experience the opposite of what they have experienced in one life. So if in one life you were very wealthy, it makes sense, and also that you were, self-made to a large extent and reached a position of success and high status, it's also equally possible that in a different life you were quite poor and had to work really hard for just to survive, basically. And I'm feeling this this like feeling of constant uphill struggle that has probably carried on for many lifetimes, and you probably still struggle with this feeling of like you have to do everything alone, that you can't rely on others, whether it is, whether it's real or imagined, but you definitely feel like, you should be self-reliant, that you cannot rely on other people. Another feeling, though, that I'm getting more, like I said, from your pile than the others is that I think you have some kind of deep emotional traumas. Like, I think if you are a person who has very strong emotions, which I think you do have in this lifetime, and you cannot think back to anything in your childhood or anything that happened in your life that could explain these strong emotional reactions, like maybe you have phobias, maybe you have, I don't know, like especially I'm feeling defensiveness. Like I feel like maybe you were hurt emotionally in past lives. And since there are no, I'm not getting any strong romantic vibes here. I'm feeling like you were traumatized by your family in a past life. In many ways, you didn't have the time to be a child. Like maybe you had to work from a young age, or from a young age you were expected to just obey the family and focus on status and security, and you didn't have much time or energy left to just play and to be yourself, your individual self. But yeah, as I was saying, like I'm getting a strong feeling of that you might be carrying some kind of emotional traumas even from past lives. Some strong reactions, like I said. Okay, so like if there's something that is triggering you and you cannot think back to anything that may have caused that in this life, like maybe you have a strong fear of intimacy, that could be one thing. Or just you have a general distrust towards people. I feel like this could be coming from past lives. So, and if that is the case, I'm definitely feeling like the message is you should be working on that, because most likely in this lifetime you're going to seek to experience what you haven't experienced in your past lives. So, considering the fact that these cards are mainly talking about, duties and success and material things, I'm feeling like maybe in this lifetime you're going to be more focused on being creative, having fun, loosening up. These are going to be some themes that are going to be dominating your life right now. You're going to be seeking to be authentic, maybe to have a family, your own family, by your own, how should I put it? A family of your own choosing. Like, I feel like you're probably someone who is going to stand up to your own family of origin, because I'm getting a feeling of like, see how this resonates, okay? Family of origin, or whoever your primary caregivers were. Like, I feel like you have this strong aversion to following social trends or following your family. And even if this wasn't obvious from the beginning of your life, like maybe you won't feel this way until you're maybe in your like 20s, 30s and beyond. But eventually I feel like you're going to get to a point where you just decide that you're no longer going to listen to social pressures or, expectations placed upon you by society or the family structure, and that you're going to go your own way. This is, see how this resonates, but this is what I'm feeling from these cards. what you also bring from past lives in terms of gifts, you are extremely intuitive, naturally have a well-developed feminine side, irrespective of your actual gender. So that means that you are very much, like I said, so in touch with your intuition, with your creativity. You're most likely also have an ability to be nurturing, whether you use it or not. You maybe even have an ability to relate to children a lot, whether you realize it or not. And also, you are very hardworking. You're a person who can handle crisis situations. I'm getting a feeling of like, even though you don't particularly maybe like change, you're used to it, or like you're pretty confident in your ability to just handle sudden changes. I'm getting a feeling here that you're a person who can just land on your feet no matter what happens. And also, you're a very passionate person. You're a natural leader. You have the ability also to be self-made. You are probably quite cautious with your finances. You know how to manage your money. Because probably you're not going to rely on other people to take care of you. You probably know from a young age that you have to be self-reliant. So you're pretty good with your money. I feel like you have the ability to take care of yourself financially pretty well. And you also, I think, have the ability to be a strong manifester. In any case, and also what I'm getting that is quite nice here is that there is a balance between your feminine and masculine selves. Okay, so you're most likely a person who, even though you have strong emotions, you also have the ability to take charge and be proactive about your life. You're not going to be, most likely you're not going to be, sitting for long in passiveness and just crying over spilled milk. You probably like to take the bull by the horns and move forward with your life. A lot of inner strength. Yeah, so this is pretty much it. But one message that I'm definitely getting, I don't know if I made this clear, is that I feel like there's a message here that you should try to not let imaginary fears run your life because of your traumas from a past life. I feel like you also are a person who maybe struggles with anxiety or a lot of intrusive thoughts, repetitive thoughts, things that get you stuck in a rut in the past. Despite your better judgment, even though you also have the ability to have a strong willpower and to be proactive on a rational plane, you might still struggle with, maybe even periods of depression, anxiety, strong emotions that you don't really like, that make you feel uncomfortable. And there is a strong message that you need to work through that. You need to maybe even consider past life regression, to work through your emotions and look towards the future, not towards the past. Trust that you can overcome any dark phase. Okay, so this is what I have in your reading, and I hope you have enjoyed it, because I have. And of course, if you have enjoyed it, please do not forget to like the video and also subscribe to my channel to see when I will post a new tarot reading. And also, if you're interested in a personal tarot reading, you can email me at the email in the video description and I will give you more details. Okay, thank you.